Oh my, let's pretend, a Daily Terrors novel. In the end, we're all scheduled to die. The trick is to know who we are when the time comes.
A gust of wind rattled branches overhead, letting wet drops pour on my coat as I turned and saw the ugly, despicable face. There he was, Chief of Detectives Orndorff, and as I see him, it strikes me his pose would be more laughable on the front paper had he won the political campaign for mayor 2 years ago. The man glows the air of this corrupt metropolis with his arms folded and his jaw chewing a wad of tobacco tucked in his cheek. This bastard stood about 6'5", broad-shouldered, and had a light brown mustache on his face. He spoke in a German accent. So it's the rogue reporter on the scene, here to break another big story. A rotten tomato from the Rolling Stone, eh? Well, I'll tell you what. Your Pulitzer article about the Negroes' persecution was a hoax, ruined the public perception of the sheriff's office because they were sincere in busting them colored boys, okay? Those boys were bad news, and what you did was make them look good. Ain't no white and black, got it? I eyed long and hard and said, that should be your campaign slogan the next time you're running for Congress. Screw you, he said. Thanks for ruining my campaign with your defamatory racist article. It was untrue, all of it. That's BS, and you know it, Chief. I turned away from his ugly, pudgy cheeks. It was time to get a closer look at that dead girl. But then I heard him say, aren't you living in Deadland? You'd better watch it, Billy boy, or you'll end up dead there. I turned to face him again, his pudgy cheeks shadowy, his eyes distant. Did I just hear him right? Did he just say that? That fat jerk, how'd he become the chief of detectives anyway? He didn't get rid of Jenkins because he was black, and that was his way of making skin color quota, using Jenkins as a black pawn in a black and white game of chess. And Jenkins knows that, trying to get any dig to prove him wrong and take his place. We stared at each other a long minute, and he said, I'll tell you what, Billy boy. You ain't gonna release nothing about the note found in this girl's mouth, 'cause you ain't seeing it, got me? So don't ask no questions about it and keep your mouth shut on this story or else. I glanced down again at the dead body, then back up at him. His eyes were dark, black, something concealed. Something I did not like, something, well, secretive. I crouched over the body and spent the next 10 minutes inspecting the body. The girl looked familiar and I couldn't place the resemblance. It was hard to see her there because those terrible memories of Shirley began to take hold, and I couldn't shake my mind free. I knelt beside the body and felt guilty too. The girl's dead eyes reminded me so much of Shirley, and I couldn't help think of how I could have saved her. Yet also how it felt holding that razor blade earlier. How terrible it was. How lovely and good it felt too. Damn this coincidence with Amelia conjuring up those dead memories in my mind the other night. What she said made everything go wrong in my mind. It was Amelia who had brought back that darkness. Damn her. Just as I rose from the side of the body, a couple of policemen tugged me away. I figured Julia's husband must have ordered that all non-essential personnel leave the area. This was his way of pushing me around. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder and saw Detective Jenkins smile. A toothpick was in his upper lip and he twisted it before he spoke. Did you get anything on that note? Nothing. Too bad, he said. I heard what Detective Orndorff said. He's a bitter man. Yeah, still sore over your article too now, ain't he? All these good old boys are still siding with the sheriff. Man, tell me about it, said Jenkins. You'd be surprised that a lot of good old white boys still don't want me around. Suddenly, as if the sheriff himself heard us, a few cops pushed Julia outside the yellow tape. She screamed. Hey, wait, yelled Jenkins. That's Johnny's wife, a cop hollered back. She's been ordered off the scene. I saw Julia waving at me from the parking lot. Loneliness was in her eyes and desperation in her skin. She slipped into her car and drove away. A minute later, the cop yelled, then pointed at me. Get him out of here too. Jenkins grabbed my hand. See what you can dig up on the corpse girl and get back to me. I got a hunch Julia knew her, got me? Sure. And I'll let you know what I find too. Just don't break anything without giving me the scoop. We've got a crime to solve and I don't want the public on this too fast. Got me? I'll be in touch. He smiled and then slipped under the yellow tape. 2 policemen came to escort me away. They tried to grip my arms, but I pulled away. Don't touch me. Move along, Billy. As I walked back to the parking lot, the flashing blue lights overwhelmed me. Red, white, blue. Not the kind that freed a man from his own skin. Something about those lights kept me even deeper inside, increasing the loneliness, the darkness, pitying memories. I felt the phone ring in my pocket and a text message came. When I flicked the lid open, I found 2 messages that Julia had written. "Johnny is such an butthole. He forced me to leave. Can you meet me soon?" Then another message soon followed. "I'm sitting in the car just before the exit. Please text me back ASAP or else I'm heading home. Didn't want to call. Figured you're still with Jenkins. We really need to talk." I must admit I was surprised she sent me those messages, especially since I had been blowing her off for months. But I was curious to know if she knew the dead girl back there, so I punched numbers on my phone and called her. Her voice was shaky. She sounded like she had been crying. "God, I've missed you. I thought I told you 2 months ago this is over with, that we're done with. But I've got to talk. About the dead girl, I hope. Why are you being so hard with me? Like I said, this has got to end between us. Johnny threatened to kill me months ago, don't you remember? But I need to talk to you, it's important. Was the dead girl your client or not? Meet me tonight and we can talk." "All right, but this is the last time, you hear? No more tricks. I'm on the way to pick up my girl, so it's got to be quick." "Where?" "The dog track. That dirty old place? I'll be there in 20 minutes. I slid into the car and drove along the highway again, this time heading back east, back from where I came. Isn't that where everyone goes? Back to from where they came? Suddenly it seemed something was at stake, something I could no longer deny, something I had yet to understand about Shirley's death and myself, something unresolved inside. The crime scene had conjured up a dead phantom in my mind, and confusion gave it life. That's right. It was Amelia who also reminded me so much of Shirley saying those same damn words. Not to mention the dead girl back there with a rope around her neck reminded me too. Tina Starr. Jesus, she was dead and someone had killed her. Control that anger, boy. That's what my father had once said, control it good. There was no one else on the road. I was glad they were all gone. Glad that no one could look into my soul. Sons of bitches, all of them. Can't live with them, can't live without them. Control that anger, boy. That's what my father had once said, control it good. Control that anger, boy. That's what my father had once said, control it good.